Okay, look. I'm gonna wait for anybody to show up who is going to show up. There we go. Now it just went live. Wow, that's a long delay, isn't it? So yeah, I'll wait a few minutes for anybody to show up who is at all interested in hearing me ramble about this ginormous project I'm working on. Talk about the progress we've had and whatnot. And if you're watching, go ahead and say hello so I know who's here. I'm sure Braden is probably here, maybe a couple other people. And I'm going to have a nice big drink of one of my favorite things in the world, ginger beer. No, it's not alcoholic. It's just a really, really strong soda. Okay. Well, I think one of the first things I'll talk about is changes. And since I started the project back in October, really September. Man, this has been going on a while. So this project taking a lot longer. I have made some changes to the piece. Some have been pretty small. For instance, one of the small changes is I decided, you know what? The B flat clarinets are probably going to get swamped. So in the big sections in particular, so we're going to just double the B flat clarinets in the big sections and single on the small ones. So we'll just use two players instead of one. Easy. We're going to do the same thing with the tubas throughout. So just having two tubas in a band of 100 people on stage, yeah, you can double the tubas and still be pretty safe. Some other things, I have added a few instruments along the way. For instance, mandolin. There's a couple mandolin parts in there now. They've already been recorded. I mean, they were recorded immediately after I wrote them. A few other things here and there. But the biggest part, and if you saw the thumbnail for this, is this bad boy right here, which is completely got a glare from my ring light. Let's see. This is the chorus. I do not know when to leave well enough alone, and I said, chorus. I mean, if it's going to be the biggest symphony ever written for band, why not make it the biggest symphony ever written for band? And so I've got a chorus here. No, I don't. I've got two choruses. It's a double chorus. Because, of course. And I don't think I've talked about this on the channel. I haven't done a lot of updates on the Symphony lately. But, yeah. And again, please let me know if you're able to see or hear anything. I am not getting any feedback, so I'm hoping everything's coming through. Okay, hey Jared, there you are. So this symphony project is unfortunately going a lot slower than Symphony 2. Symphony 2 was completed in 16 months. The bulk of that could really have been done in 6 months, and then there was a lot of, for lack of a better term, stragglers, and people just kind of not getting the part done or searching for the last few players. There was some searching for the last few players. Luckily, that searching did expand my network of players. So I was able to pull from some of those players to start in on this project. This project is going a lot slower, I think, for a couple reasons. One, we're on the tail, the downslope of the pandemic. Not everybody is trapped at home anymore, so there's less opportunity to record stuff. Two, I have not been as urgent with trying to get this out. I'm telling people to take their time, and psychologically people think, oh, I've got a lot of time. Whereas on the last one, it's like, hey, let's get this done, let's get this done. I'm going to give you a deadline. Here's a deadline. I have not put out a deadline yet. I think I'm going to need to put out a deadline for players. So, and I probably will make that announcement here, both in the Discord server and on Facebook and whatnot. But I'd really like to put a deadline of end of August to get as many parts recorded as possible. With some exceptions. Jared here is going to be one of the exceptions, of course, because he has to build his instrument. I have to build my instrument. Richard has to build his instrument. We've got instruments that have to be built. But the more recordings I get in by the end of August, the more time I'll have to spend to mix and edit. That's a long process on my part. I go through every part, every note, and I edit it all. And so it takes a while. But I spent a good chunk of this afternoon starting to record the choir, and that's one of the great things about the choir is a handful of people can record the whole thing. So I sat down with one of the tracks this afternoon. The choir only appears on 6 or 7 tracks in the whole piece, and I recorded all of tenor 1 and all of tenor 2, and I did 4 takes on each one, so the tenor section now has 8 voices in it. Ideally, I want 16, so I did half of all of the tenors in track number 6, which will be the first track that the chorus enters. I don't really have the range to record any of the bass parts. I could record some of the altos, but I'd rather wait till I get a real alto voice to do that, because it'd sound weird with just Brett on all the voices. But I've got some people who have volunteered. I do need some more upper singers, sopranos and altos. Now, one thing I did say is it's 2 choruses. And the choruses are actually kind of split. They're very uneven. So there's the main chorus. It's an on-stage chorus. And ideally, I want 16 voices per part. Total, 64 voices on stage. There's also what I'm calling the celestial choir. And that is an offstage chorus of 16 voices, 4 voices on each part. And that is supposed to be at a distance way off. And there's a few parts where the 2 choruses will interact, call and response with one another. In fact, with the chorus, I have added a whole new section, about 3.5 minutes of just a cappella chorus. It comes about a third of the way into the piece. It's really, really highly effective. It is the single biggest change I have made since starting the project. But once it's all done, I really think the results are going to be pretty awesome. If you want to sing in the chorus, please let me know. That said, I think it's just me and Jared watching right now, so but more people will see this as the video goes up. A couple other changes I've made. I have done some splitting out of parts. Originally, bassoon 3 and subcontra bassoon were going to be on the same part. They've been fully split out. And most of that is just for logistics reasons. Just for placement. I realized with the subcontra bassoon just how unwieldy it is. So I'm just thinking practical terms for like an actual performance that like it'll ever happen. You would really have to have 2 separate players. So I've separated them out. They are now 2 fully separate players. And then one other thing is the addition of 2 more flute parts, and those flute parts are really there, kind of like I said earlier with the extra B-flat clarinets, just to kind of bolster up the sound, up the section a little bit, help out with some long runs, divvy out some of the parts. But it also allows me to add in G treble flute on one of the parts and some more contrabass or bass flute on some other parts as well. So it gets me a few more doubles, a few more instruments in there. I've already got a player lined up for the G treble, and then I just need one more C flute player. There's actually only a few spots left. The biggest hole is the cello section. Currently, I only have one cello player signed up to play the piece. I need 8, and what will probably eventually happen is I will sweeten the cello section with a little bit of samples. I've already started doing that, knowing that there's a good chance I won't get 8 cellos. But you know, if I can get 3, 4, and then do the rest with really high quality samples, I don't think people will notice as much. Mostly because, you know, the cellos are going to be a little bit more in the background. It's not orchestral. It is wind band after all. So cellos aren't that critical. Let's see, what else have I done? I don't think I ever talked about the recorders. And this was a very minor section here and there. What I did is, in some of the very quiet sections, I put recorder doubles on all the sarrusophone parts. So the sarrusophones will double on some of the low recorders. Tenor, bass, great bass, and contrabass. And all except the contrabass are all recorded now. Have a nice quartet going there. And you get some real lovely effects there. And I'll wait for the contrabass to come in and just kind of fill out the bottom end of that quartet. Oh. Hey, Braden. You finally made it. Yep, I'm just talking about all the changes that we've made. You know all of the changes. Braden's helping out with a lot of the personnel. But yeah, I spent a good chunk of this afternoon recording and mixing all the tenor parts to track 6. So that's starting to come along, and hopefully we'll get another couple tenors in there to fill out and get up to 16 voices on those. Let's see, what else? Do we have any questions? I know I don't have much of an audience right now, but if either of you two guys have any questions, let me know. But I mean, I talk to you two fairly frequently, so I think you all know the state of the project. But yeah, it's just it's going a little bit slower than I would have liked. And as I was saying earlier, I am probably going to put a deadline for a lot of the performers at the end of August. Say I need at least something from you by the end of August. That way I know who's committed, who's not. And that should be, I think, fairly reasonable. That gives another 3 months to get stuff recorded. Particularly for people who've been signed up since October. Hello, Neo. I'm not sure if you're involved in the project or not, but welcome. I'm just kind of ranting about this giant project I am doing where we're recording the largest symphony ever written for band. We did finally work out our E-flat flute situation. If you saw my last live stream where I ended completely dejected by having a box of utterly worthless instruments that I bought, hoping one was an E-flat flute, we have figured out an E-flat flute situation now, and if everything works out, that part should be covered, and it actually should be covered by the person who was already going to be playing flute 3, which flute 3 and E-flat are on the same part. So that's always a plus there. One person can cover the whole thing. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Trying to think what else. I still do have a few other wind spots available. Right now, there's 2 clarinet spots available. One on A clarinet, and then the other on C and E flat clarinet. Jared, there is no fife part. I don't know how I could justify a fife. Now, if I could get like uh, a a B flat flute, a flat transposition, I would seriously think about that. But I mean, I've already got two piccolos, a G treble, and an E flat flute. I probably don't need anything else up there. Um, yeah, I don't really need a fife in it. Interestingly, I think the only wind section I have not touched is the oboe section. I take that back. I haven't touched the saxophone section either. So saxophones and the oboes have not changed a bit from the beginning. Every other wind section has changed a little bit. And when I originally had Symphony 3, it was, I never considered it fully the orchestration fully complete, and I think I am getting close to um, that completeness on there. Everything is done and settled in. So much so that I'm starting to kind of pull back on some of the things I've done. I said, okay, I've gone too far. Let's pull it back. I know there's one keyboard addition that I thought I was going to do, but I'm definitely going to pull it back and not do it now. Speaking of keyboards, I still do need a harmonium player. Well, I've got a harmonium here. It really doesn't work unless you want that sound. So, yep. I still need a couple harp players. I desperately need harp players. So if you know any good harp players, let me know. But otherwise, I mean, I think that's kind of it. Like I said, the project's coming along fairly slowly. I would encourage anybody who is participating in the project to get recordings done sooner rather than later. One thing I will say is here in the southern United States, as we get more and more into summer, the air conditioner becomes an issue. I find that I cannot record with the air conditioner on because it really messes with the sound and the sound quality. So if I record, I have to turn the air conditioner off for a good length of time. And you know, we've had a nice cool couple days here, but it's about to get up into the 90s and above here, and recording time is going to be very limited. Early mornings, late at night. Otherwise, it's just going to be too hot to survive without the air conditioner on. So that is something to think about if you're recording. The next few months will be difficult with having to turn the air conditioner off. Otherwise, guys, I think that's going to be it for this. I mean, we don't have a lot of people here. It's not getting a lot of questions coming in. But if you have any questions, reach out to me. I'll put a link in the description to the Discord server if you want to come join the project. And yeah. So I'll do another update as we get further and further along in the project. But thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys later.